You know, in science, there are a few equations that are just so powerful, so elegant, that they describe the world around us in a beautifully simple way. Today, we're going to unpack one of the big ones, PV equals nRT. Now, it might just look like a string of letters, but trust me, it's the secret code behind everything from a rising cake to a car's airbag. So let's get into it. Okay, let's start with something you've probably seen 100 times. You wake up, it is freezing outside, and you look at your car tire. Yesterday, it looked perfectly fine, but this morning, it just looks a little sad, a little deflated. What is going on there? Well, the answer is hiding right inside the very equation we're about to explore. So here's how we're going to solve our little tire mystery. First, we'll need to understand what an ideal gas even is. Then we'll meet the 4 key players in this story, see how they all interact, and then put it all together to see why this equation is just so incredibly important. All right. First things first, the real world, it's messy, it's complicated. So to figure out the rules of the game, scientists often start by creating a simplified model, a perfect theoretical world where all the messy stuff is stripped away so we can see what's really going on underneath. And that brings us to this idea of an ideal gas. Now, here's the secret. It doesn't actually exist. It's a hypothetical concept, a perfect model where we pretend gas particles are super simple. And what's amazing is that by making this little simplification, we can predict how real gases behave with just stunning accuracy. So what are the rules in this perfect, ideal world? Well, for starters, we pretend the gas particles themselves are just tiny dots that take up no space. When they smash into each other or the walls of their container, they bounce off perfectly, kind of like super bouncy billiard balls, and no energy is ever lost. And lastly, they completely ignore each other. No pulling together, no pushing apart. They're just zipping around totally at random. It's these rules that make the math work out so cleanly. Okay, so we set our simplified ideal stage. Now it's time to meet the 4 main characters in our equation, the variables that tell us everything we need to know about the state of a gas. First up, we've got P, and that stands for pressure. I want you to imagine millions of microscopic ping-pong balls trapped in a box, just constantly bouncing off the walls. Every single little collision creates a tiny push. Well, pressure is just the grand total of all those pushes added together. So more bounces or harder bounces means you've got higher pressure. Simple as that. Next, we have V for volume. This one's easy. It's just the size of the box. It's the amount of space our tiny particles have to zoom around in. Then there's N, which stands for moles. Now, since we can't possibly count every single gas particle one by one, scientists came up with a handy unit called the mole. Think of it like a dozen always means 12. A mole is just a specific, absolutely enormous number of particles. So N is really just a way of asking, how much stuff, how many particles do we have in the box? And our final player is T for temperature. And here's the key thing to remember about temperature. It's all about speed. It's a measure of the average energy of our particles. So a high temperature means those particles are whipping around like crazy, leading to really fast, forceful collisions. A low temperature? They're moving a lot more slowly. Okay, so we've met our players: pressure, volume, the amount of gas, and temperature. But the real magic isn't just knowing who they are. It's seeing how they're all connected, how they dance together and influence one another. And there are some really fundamental relationships here. Think about a balloon. If you squeeze it, right, you decrease its volume. And what happens? The pressure inside goes way up. That's what we call an inverse relationship. But on the other hand, if you take that same balloon and warm it up, the temperature increases, and you'll see the balloon actually expand. Its volume gets bigger too. That's a direct relationship. So for years, scientists saw all these separate little relationships playing out. The truly brilliant leap was figuring out how to combine all of them into one single powerful, unified law that describes everything all at once. So they took everything they knew, that pressure is linked to temperature and the amount of gas, but has that inverse relationship with volume, and they wove it all together. But to turn it into a perfect equation where one side exactly equals the other, they realized that they needed one final piece to make it all balance out. And here it is. PV equals nRT, the ideal gas law. It's so elegant. What it shows us is that all these properties are perfectly balanced. If you change one thing on one side of that equal sign, something else has to change to keep the whole thing in balance. They are all locked together in this beautiful mathematical dance. So what is that mysterious R that popped up? That is the ideal gas constant. The best way to think about it is like a universal translator or a conversion factor. Since we measure pressure, volume, and temperature using all sorts of different units like atmospheres or liters or Kelvin, R is the magic number that gets them all to speak the same mathematical language. It's the glue that holds the entire equation together. So we have this beautiful, clean equation. But is it just a neat trick for a science class? Is it just something you memorize for a test? No way. This is where things get really, really cool. This equation is literally everywhere. Engineers use it to design the chemical reaction in a car's airbag. They need to rapidly increase N, the amount of gas, to inflate that bag in just milliseconds. Scuba divers rely on it to understand how pressure changes as they go deeper. It's even at work in your oven. The heat makes the gases in cake batter expand, and that's what makes the cake get all light and fluffy. Let's look at a hot air balloon. It's a perfect example. In this case, the pressure inside the balloon and the amount of air, our N, they're going to stay pretty much constant. So look at what happens. The pilot fires up the burner and doubles the temperature of the air inside. Well, the equation tells us that to keep things balanced, the volume must also double. The air expands, it becomes less dense than the cold air outside, and poof, the balloon rises. It's the law in action right there. And this brings us right back to our flat tire on a cold morning. We finally know why it happens. As the temperature, T, drops overnight, the equation demands that the volume, V, of the air inside the tire has to drop too, making it look flat. The ideal gas law explains it perfectly. Which leaves us with one last, kind of fascinating thought. We started by saying no gas is truly ideal. So why is this technically wrong equation so incredibly right for science? Well, the answer is that under most normal, everyday conditions, real gases behave so close to ideally that the difference doesn't even matter. This beautifully simple model gives us the right answer almost every time. It's a great reminder that sometimes the most powerful tools in science are the ones that help us see the simple, elegant rules hidden just beneath our complex world.